Who's ready for some boom, baby? Boom! Right. And shine. It's your morning marijuana motivation time. Your host with the mostest, Marquis Saint. This is Saint's Addiction. In case you didn't know, we were on a mission to reframe all the bad thoughts, bro. That's why we have to have this conversation this morning, man. It's like one of these things where bad things happen, but we don't have to make it bad in our brains. And shout out to my boy Tanner, who called me about 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. Finland time to say, hey, these morning motivations really be inspiring them. So look, bro, we shining, homie, and I ain't forgot you. I got you a special shout out, and you always be my boy, Blue. So let's go. So anyway, when you're out and about, it's going to rain. Regardless, no matter what happens in your life, what isn't going to have to happen is that it rains in your brain. And this is why I'm having Saints Addiction or this conversation this morning. Know what I'm saying? No, I mean, because that's what it had to happen for me. You know, it's not like a magic wand sprinkled on top of me and bad things stop happening to me. No, matter of fact, even last night I almost got arrested for some pastries. You know, apparently I didn't go to the right checkout thing. There's a thing that prints out the stickers. I kept going to the one that I always go to, and then there's supposed to be a special one for the expensive ones. And I'm like, well, something flew in my mouth. I'm like, doesn't the fruit ones all work? She's like, yeah, all the fruit ones are for the fruit. I'm like, so all the pastry ones aren't for all the pastries? No, this one's for the expensive ones. You got money to pay for it? I'm like, yeah. And they walked me all the way back to the pastries, put the sticker on it, walked me all the way to the fucking checkout line, and then I have to have this conversation again. So it's been fucking interesting to say the least. But, you know, they like to say, when you get knocked down, can you get back up? And that's a tough one, because most of us are going to take it, whatever happens, the stimulus, and turn it into a reaction that usually isn't helpful. That's why I have to do the morning motivation, because you got to make it helpful on your own brain. And it's not like I've never gone insane. Of course I have. Through my anger, you know, I see red, and then I can't see anything else. And you already know what that's like. You know, we all do. We all know what it's like when we see red or can't process what's going on. We're just so angry inside. We feel so let down, or something has happened. And I'm here to say, I make it happen, Captain. You know what I mean? I got to make it happen. And how do I do that? Well, shit, first of all, it's my morning exercise, right? Second of all, it's the fresh air, fresh water, and my fresh mentality. But third of all is to take my mood for a walk. Like, I have to be the type of person that can reframe what is happening. And I'll take on Kevin Smith's words, because I was just watching him say it, but he was doing a bio, and he was so hard on himself. He's like, 2 years ago, he sat there watching the movie Slackers, and now he's at, you know, Sundance Film Festival watching his own movie. And that's the blessing, you know. We get so stressed of what's not working, you know, how much money we don't have, or how much love we don't have, or what's going wrong. What ends up happening is we diminish our appreciation. And that's the one push-up you want to be doing for certain, is the gratitude push-ups. To be able to push your brain back up. First of all, it's the internal, right? I got to get my endorphins. I got to get my oxytocins. I got to get my serotonin going, right? Like, I'm going to the park and the bridge, and then we'll park and spark. But, you know, that keeps me going. Motion creates emotion. And I rather have an in motion instead of emotion. And this is what I've been trying to teach people, is because now I do something with the angst, right? I do something with the struggle, or whatever is going on in my brain. I go, okay, motherfucker, it's your turn to do push-ups, right? It's your turn. I've already been in my head all night about it. What did I say to her? What could I done? What could I said different? What could I done differently? You know, and totally picked apart everything that I did, instead of going for the walk and letting it just happen. You know, this is the relaxing into it. Look at these dogs on shirts, man. You got wolves, lady. Those are wolves. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I'm talking about you guys. You know it. Look at the wolves. Yo. Dogs on shirts. We make dog shirts. Yeah, at the Pinacopa. Yo. On Instagram, dogs on shirts. And mugs and everything. They're great looking. Yeah, you're welcome. Have a good one. So yeah, totally. And that's what it is, man. I was just gonna have to reframe it for my mind, because if I leave it in my head, it's gonna bring me dread. Like if I leave it playing the worst hits over and over like a horror movie, you can already imagine what my attitude's gonna be like. And I also have enough knowledge of myself, like I've lived long enough to pre-predict how I would be. I can sit there in my self-pity and wallow in it, like a good little pig in shit. And then I can say, hey, you'll feel better if you get out in the sunshine. And then my pity would be like, or my depression would be like, yeah, it's so cold outside, or it's raining, or the wind brings the chill, and all these other factors happen. And I'm like, yeah, Mark, but as soon as I hit that door, fresh air gets in my nose, into my lungs, into my brain, and already I've given myself an uptick. Right? We're talking about singing in the rain, an uptick, so that way I find something to sing about, something to smile about, and do something nice for somebody today, like be nice to the strangers that's got wolves and mention dogs on shirts, like all these things are just key elements that keep me more saintly than addicted. And it's really been the only reason that I've been able to travel the world or do the things that I do, is because I flip it in my mind. I can sit there and woe is me, and then it gets cloudy, and then the sun gets behind the cloud, and I'll start getting cloudy and doomsday and depression. And it's all real. I even had a conversation with my friend. He'd never been depressed before. He's like, I don't think it's real. Just because it's not real to him doesn't mean it's not real at all. Look at this guy. Did you really just pull up in front of me while I'm walking?
No.
Bro, I'm walking straight right now. You just pulled right in front of me.
Sorry.
Yeah, come on, man. We got to watch each other, bro. Got you. So, I'm live on the 95. I'll be trying to be nice to people, even if they cut me off, or maybe they don't understand me, or things aren't really happening. This is our lives. The way you treat your mind will be the only way that it responds. And this is why I got to be ahead of myself, ahead of my head, to be able to say to myself, okay, Mark, don't go into dread. Don't go to the dark side. You're going to feel so much better if you go for a walk. And that fight between my depression and wallowing in my self-pity and being on the couch and sucking my thumb, to getting outside and love my life, love my life and scream to the heavens that I love my life, and reinforce those endorphins and that uptake in my inhibitors in my mind, and say, okay, you know what? It is nice. Life is nice. And it does take some time to be able to do that and make it fucking happen. And all of us have a chance to make it happen, Captain. But it's just, do we take action? And that's going to be the biggest thing. Are we going to be on a reaction or take action? And the take action is like, okay, look, I'm frustrated. My mind's stuck on one thing. I was like, the other day, it happened because I had a breakup with my friend, and I was walking outside, and all I could think about was, this girl's using me. She's not really my friend. And to this day, she's still not called me back again. So it's just one of those things where I got rid of an imbalanced relationship, but it just took up all my mind while I was walking in the forest. And I'm like, this should be my free time, right? This is my free my mind time, instead of this, let's replay the same shit that happened every day. I want to go out here and be free every day. And remember that as soon as I get outside, I feel better. As soon as I get some sun on my skin, I feel better. Got to get in some vitamin D time. You know what I'm saying? That's what she said. And getting next to the water makes me feel comfortable as well. So that's another part of it as well, to be able to get next to the water and chill the fuck out and make my life a little bit more calmer. Because if I leave the track on, right, the CD be spinning, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm not in a position of positivity at that point. I basically put myself behind the 8 ball, and I'm stuck on whatever track is spinning in my head. And I promise you, it's all dread. It's not like it's happiness, happy penis. It's not any of that. It's more like, this went wrong, that went wrong, and you suck, and then life sucks, and then everything that I look through that lens isn't so shiny anymore. Look how beautiful this is, right? So this is my happy place. This is where I come to park and spark. As you can see, it's beautiful. But this is part of the reprogramming, right? Pretty much the whole thing is for me to stop telling myself, good morning. Yep. Stop telling myself all the bad shit that's going on, and start reflecting on all the good shit that is going on. At least I didn't get arrested, At least the cops didn't arrest me. I didn't get deported. And it was just as simple as paying for the pastries or putting out the weed or whatever it is. I need to be able to reframe it That's the tough part. Just like Kevin Smith did, or just like anyone else does, if we take our mood for a walk, right? We exercise the demons, let the stress get relieved, not hidden or buried, right? And then reestablish this conversation with ourselves. Then we have an uptake. Now we're on a +1 instead of a -1, right? If we're doing fractions, or I was doing fractions the other day. Goddamn, I'm so fucking out of the math. But anyway, 10th grade math is way beyond me. But to reestablish it in my head, to say, hey, you know what? It's not as bad as like being born in Africa and then really got nothing to get out of India or Iran or any, man, Huva Boyka. That's my guy. Come on, bro. You got this. Keep going. Keep going. Yo, 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 yo. That's my guy. Hey, if he can do it, you can do it too, bro. Like, every morning I see this guy and he ain't stopped yet. So, you know, to be able to start your mind in a positive direction, to be able to put that energy towards something that's going to be more reflective for your purpose is the game. That's the whole Saints addiction. That's the whole reason I'm alive. This is the whole morning motivation, is to be able to get here and go, okay, yeah, it happened, but it doesn't have to keep happening in my brain. I don't have to relive it. I don't have to replay it. I can change my own mood. I can change the own destination. I can change my own tune. So it's like a radio station, if you will. You have no problem going over to your TV. Don't stop, homie. Don't stop. Going over to your TV, right? Going over to your TV and changing the station. You have no problem being like, I don't like this station, change it. But when it comes to our mood and our attitude and our tudes, you know, we have a lot harder to do that. It's going to be hard for us to get over our ex. It's going to be harder for us to not fixate and obsess. And this is what I was also telling my homies. There's my boy. Be cool, brother. Be cool. Yeah. Next time, watch me. Yo, yo. So, you know, you're going to have to watch yourself. Like I just told him, watch out. You know, watch yourself frown a little bit when you think about your ex and go, is this the thought that I want to have? If this was a TV channel, would I be watching it? If this was a movie, would I continue or fast forward it? Or would I play a different track? Of course you would. Of course you would, in a heartbeat, because then you have self-control. And this is what reframing is because sure, your brain can go forever as it wants. And then my cat dog, then I got ran over by a reindeer, and then it's a whole country song. Like literally all the worst highlights. I know my friend, I don't want to say her name, but Bestie over there, she'll go in, and when she's looping, like when she thought she had cancer, she's now telling me about the time her grandma called her ugly when she was 12, or I mean, all the way back, right? Like she'll go over every fucking instance that's done her wrong, and then wonder why she feels wrong. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of those things where you're just like, you know, it's not healthy. It's not healthy till we reframe it into a healthy version of it. And that's mental push-ups. That's going to be the tough spot. It's going to be the hardest thing you ever did in your life. But trust me, it's worth it, because if we see it that way, good morning, you know, if we see it that way through a healthy prism, the perspective prism, because it's not just perception, it's also perspective. If we have a healthy perspective, then we're in our own mind saying like, okay, this is a place that I can live. I can live in my mind without it betraying me, right? Like without making it worse than it seems to be. And who hasn't been there? I'll tell the story while I light up this blunt. Go ahead, join Weed Club, Saints Addiction. We out cheer, you know. Was my ex, man, my only DUI, thankfully, but my DUI when I was 21, she was there. Good old Alyssa Cisco, fucking sitting there looking ass at the Tom and Jerry's bar right across from fucking the college, and I had just seen her. And I started drinking heavily. And next thing I know, my friend's like, are you okay to drive? And I'm like, no. And he still let me drive. And then I got a DUI. And now I'm throwing up orange shit because it was whatever drink it was with the fucking vest around me so I don't commit suicide. That was so much fun, you know? No, it wasn't. Let's bless up. Come on, baby. Okay. It almost lit. Let's go. Okay, we got action. And that's just what I'm trying to unlock for everybody, is like to unlock the action mechanism in their brain where before they go insane, before it starts to be the blues and then you lose, and now it's on alcohol and addictions and unhealthy cycles, and we all know our own unhealthy cycles, or at least we should, but do we know how to switch our brain off? You know what I mean? Do we know how to switch it to start saying nicer things to ourselves, like, yeah, I said the wrong thing, but nobody's perfect. That's a reframe. Or, yeah, yeah, I mean, this thing's bugging me, but have I exercised today? That's a real question. And then, of course, it's I can feel a mood coming on, kind of like this weird weather. But am I willing to walk it out? Now walk it out. Now walk it out. No, I can't dance that well, but to walk it out and say, okay, motherfucker, you're not just gonna live in my head rent free. You're gonna have to do some push-ups like me. I've been pushing up and down in my head all morning. By the afternoon, I need a workout. I need some nature. I need some nutrients. The halt system, the hungry, angry, lonely, and tired, hangry. All those things will trip us up into not feeling our best. It's like, did I eat today? Did I walk today? Did I talk today? We're the medicine too, for our friends and shit. If you need someone to talk to, you should have a circle of influence that people can call you at 4 a.m., 8 a.m., Tanner, I see you, and be able to recover from anything that's inside of our head. This is why psychologists exist. This is why journaling exists. And this is why meditation exists, is because you need to sit long enough to reframe it inside your brain. Like, you got to really say, okay, I said a negative thing, but now I got to do a mental push-up and say something positive, like, at least I'm still alive. You know how many of my friends haven't made it? A lot. And I live for them, instead of thinking, oh, my friend died and I miss them. It's going to be like, he would have wanted to go get pizza with me right now. He would want, good morning. He would want me to live. He would want me to travel. He would want me to see the other side of the world. And it's true. My real friends, Chris Suapia, Damien, and Terry Zwirling, all died on me right before my last trip. And I was just like, fuck, bro, this dude's the same age as me. And I've known homeboy for over 20 years. And the other one told me he was going to go get surgery. But damn, bro, it hurts inside. But then I go and sit here and go, I think they're here with me. I think of the conversations that we have and the moments that we had, and they would want me to live. You know what I mean? They wouldn't want me curled up in a ball with a thumb in my mouth and another thumb in my ass. They would want me to go and have a blast. And that's what real friends would want. And that's what the continuation of life is to be able to finish the sentence, not just leave it as, oh, that didn't work out. Like, maybe something else is supposed to work out. Maybe I'm supposed to take myself for a workout. Maybe I'm supposed to talk to myself differently so I can reframe the drama that's leading in my brain and start telling itself, don't go insane, do something healthy for yourself, reinforce the positive, and watch what ends up happening. Saints addiction, baby. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things that it's not easy to do, because our brain will want to go on a roller coaster ride. And I know you know what I'm talking about, and be like, yo, dude, let's talk about all the trip ups. Like I was just talking about my bestie, like what happened when I was a kid, and then what happened in high school, and then what happened as an adult. And you go through the whole life story, and it still doesn't make her feel better. She's still just cycling. And that's called ruminating. And I don't want you to sit there and mull it over. I want you to cook it up, Add a little bit of salt, add a little bit of spice, because you're not acting right. You're not finishing the full sentence and saying, yeah, that happened, but at least I'm still healthy. I'm still wise. I'm still wealthy. You know what I mean? And in my head, give myself that ability to go, yeah, well, at least everything else is working. The events are working. I sold some shirts. And because I sold some shirts, now other people want shirts. And then now I got more reliable models, and I keep pushing. I keep pushing the edge of my brain to not just go insane, but to actually say something that will reinforce that negative and put some push-ups in my mind. These are the mental push-ups I keep talking about, and actually do the work and say something positive out loud. So if I can't control the brain waves or whatever story I'm telling myself and I'm looping, you best believe I need to go back in there and tell it to stop looping, like flip the disc, what's on the B side of this, and be real real with yourself. You be like, but I'm still alive. There's a lot of people that are going to be really fucked up inside, and then be like, once the game's over, it's over. But if you're still alive, you have the opportunity to pump yourself full of some positivity. And I don't just mean a mantra, which is really helpful, by the way. I forgot saying this the other day, but I am safe, I am loved, and everything's going to be okay are my 3 mantras. The reason it has to happen is because the other drumming, the bump, 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 bump of what's going wrong is too loud. I have to reinforce that I can stop, breathe, and reframe everything. And that's been tremendous for me, even for rejection, or from like a reliable bottle at a bus stop, or a business deal that didn't go right, or relationships gone wrong. We all have the opportunity to just say, at least I had a chance to love, right? Is it better to have loved and lost than to not loved at all, right? And it is. It's a fucking blessing. It's a blessing to have made love and felt love and had love in my life. And then even if it got lost, at least I felt those things, and I don't have to go back into that roller coaster ride and make myself go crazy and all these other things. No, instead I can be free. Morning, and do something for myself that I will thank myself in the future for. And that's like, instead of future faking, that's future dopamine. That now the next day, all of a sudden, yeah, sure, those problems still existed in my brain, but guess what? I reframed, and now I went on an exercise, and then I feel different. Like after I work out, my brain can't sit and function like it is on the couch. When I go for a walk, now I got all this new stimulus, the fresh air, the fresh sunshine, fresh smell of rain, and it makes me feel better inside. And this is why I don't want people to go insane. And this is the reason why I made Saints Addiction, is to be like, yo, we all go through it, dude. We all got cyclical behavior. We got destructive patterns, and all of us, everyone has an addiction. But do we let the addiction run it, or do we let our attention run it? And this is a big difference. Is I put some attention, on my shit. I paid attention, so attention paid me. And I started to pay attention that I did feel different after a workout, and I did feel different for a walk, and I do feel different in nature. So why not go and do something with it instead of sitting there and let it hurt me? And I was sick of being my own self-destructive personality, and let the guy that knows that I feel awesome when I go for a run or a walk or whatever else it is that I need to do, and get my brain to work for me instead of against me. And that's what we're talking about. It's psychology. It's a proper reframing. I'm not retelling the story like the lady that tried to hypnotherapy me and say, okay, now your dad's whipping you. Okay, but this time he's not whipping you. Let's pretend that he came in and hugged you. And I'm like, but that's not what happened. I'm not going to future fake myself, dude. I know exactly what happened, But hey, my dad was an alcoholic, and he had his own anger issues, and we don't have a relationship. I'm not the only one. At least I still have a father, and at least he gave me enough food so I could be raised up, so I can be alive right now. See how quickly I reframe that? Or how about lost love? Sure, I tried, and sure, my baby died, but at least I was getting laid, and at least I felt the affection of a woman, and at least I tried. Nothing beats a failure but a try, is what my father would say. And I got to give it a try. I got to give it like a good college try, to go outside for a walk and go for a walk and talk and switch up my mood and make myself feel better, because it's in me. Everything is an inside job. This is called the inside job. You have a job to do. Dog Tom. If anybody knows Thailand, that's a popular song, Job to Do. And that job is to keep me happy. Not all the time, but at least positive. And not all the time, but at least action. And maybe not always in action, but not always in reaction either. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to be left to be desired, if you will. But I go for what actually keeps me fired, what keeps me ignited and makes me want to keep going and creating and loving and being, versus the thing that's got me sucking my thumb, one in the mouth, one in the butt, and just going over what's going wrong instead of what's going right. So yeah, I'm singing in the rain, but the sun also came out, and it's up to me. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. And that's been tremendous for me. It's like putting myself in empowerment instead of being a victim. put myself in the driver's seat instead of being in the back, which felt like lithium when I was 19 and they used to put me on pills. I'm not on pills for a long time, almost 20, 30 years of trying to pump myself full of serotonin reuptake inhibitors or antidepressants or whatever other bullshit pill I was taking, coke or ecstasy, to say, I'm just trying to have a fucking good time. Nope. Instead, I had to look like a boss, take a loss like a boss, and say, okay, that didn't work out, but let's get back to the fucking program. Let's go back to something that will work instead of something that worked against me. You know, I make it work for me. I take that angst, I take that anxiety, and I take that negative frustrations, and I take it for a fucking walk. Or maybe you take it for a run, or maybe you take your dog for a walk. It doesn't even matter, as long as you're just not sitting with it and letting it stir inside you and stewing like a pot. Because I used to say, if you don't get it out straight, it'll come out sideways. And that's just like what I've noticed that all people, like my other buddy was saying the other day, like his dad died, so his girlfriend was looking for him, and he disappeared for like 2 weeks because he went on a coke binge and he just didn't want to feel anything at all. That's not very healthy, you know what I mean? That's just suppression. And suppression leads to depression, and then you already know the anxiety that comes with it. I'm talking about a healthy reaction, something that makes me smile, find something to smile about, do something nice for somebody. You got to be altruistic. Don't be so selfish and just live inside your head. Go feed the homeless. I know a friend that he met his girlfriend and now his wife because he came and fed the homeless with us. It takes place there, it takes place out here, not up here. You know what I mean? This thing will fucking flip on you. But if you can control your switch and switch it to the good, and switch it to a stretch, or switch it to some exercise, or reframe it properly, then all of a sudden you're doing the right mental exercises, and then you're not torturing yourself, you're not tripping yourself up, and you're not gonna come out sideways like we normally do, like I'm fine, then it's a DUI, or stop talking to all your friends, or cut yourself off, and it's like, okay, you can cut all your friends off, but you can't cut your depression off. I'll wait. No, I won't. And neither will your life, dude. Your life's not waiting for you to be like, oh, I think it's good or bad. No, time goes on. You know what I'm saying? Nature knows what's up. It's in balance. It's a force that's going to be felt. Until you with the force, and may the force be with you, use your internal force, not against you, but in favor for you, like things that you could thank yourself for and be like, okay, well, if at least I go to the store, then I would have done my walk, and then I can go get my snack. I always put a little carrot in front of me, or then I can go get my joint, or then I can go talk with my friends. And then next thing I know, I completely have forgotten whatever the fuck I was tripping about, and then I'm relaxing, and then I'm not reprogramming my brain for what's not working, but I start to fixate and hyper focus on things that do work, like exercise and creating and modeling and taking photography or whatever else makes me happy. I do that, the workouts. It's long enough in my head. I need to leave it at the gym. And that's why I say gyms over bars, because the bar's not there for you, right? They're there to take the wealth from you, your health from you, and your youth from you, right? Bartenders are not psychologists, and alcohol is not a solution. It's a depressant. So you have a choice every day. We all get a chance and a choice. And I hope you make the right choice to give yourself a chance at life. Give your brain the uptake that it deserves. And then that because I'm alive, that this is what I deserve. For all my friends that haven't made it, they don't want me to finish the story or the chapter or my life's book. And in depression, wallowing in fear and anxiety. No, it wants me to overcome, like all of us do. We want the what do you call it? The underdog. This is why it is. Are you going to choose your top dog, or are you going to be the bottom dog and just dog yourself out and then never recover since? Or you're going to be the person that starts to see the light and say, I want to feel all right. I want to feel better than I do, and I'm going to give myself a chance. That's this morning's motivation. If you got anything out of this, you already know, like, share, and subscribe below. But as always, peace and love. Give yourself some peace. Relax. Give yourself some love. Don't be so hard on yourself. I'm telling myself the same thing while I'm telling you. And also, Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever. In Finnish, that means not only will I see you on the other side of your fear your excuses and the other side of the world, because that's where I'll be. But the other side of your mind, where you pitched it something differently, and that's made all the difference. So I want everybody to go reframe your shit. I know there's something you're working on right now. It's got to be up in your head, and see if you can't reframe it so it doesn't give you dread and starts giving you dreams. Peace. Your boy Marky saying I'm out. See you on the other side.